What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So today we're going to get into the race day updates for round 13 in Foxborough. So first up, it's been a minute since we had an East Coast 250 race, so let's go ahead and recap on those 250 point standings. So in first, we got Cameron McAdoo, who's going to be rocking the red plate for the first time this week. Then in second, we have Tom Vial, only 2 points behind, so he's right there. And really, I feel like he's kind of slept on. Then in third, we have Pierce Brown, who has been a little bit more quiet this season, but he's only 11 points back. So technically, even though we don't think of him as a championship contender, he really kind of is at the moment. Then a little further down in fourth, we have Hayden Deacon, who is now 16 points behind. So it's kind of a make or break race for him this weekend. However, with the East-West showdown being next weekend, he could, or anybody really could, gain or lose a lot of points next weekend as well. So nothing's really set in stone after this weekend. A lot could still change. Then in fifth, we have Cody Schock, who is quickly becoming the fan favorite of this class. Then in sixth, Seth Hamaker. Seventh, Daxton Bennick. Eighth, Max Dancy. And then ninth, Chance Hymas. And 10th, Jalik Swoll. Now moving over to the 450 side of things, they also took a week off, so let's go ahead and recap their points. So in first, obviously, we still have Jet Lawrence, who is 8 points ahead of Cooper Webb. Then in third, we still have Chase Sexton, who is now only 20 points behind Jet. And then in fourth, we have Eli Tomac, who is just fighting to stay in this championship, who is now only a mere 29 points behind. Then in fifth is Ken Roxon, sixth, Aaron Plessinger, seventh, Jason Anderson, eighth, Justin Cooper, ninth, Justin Barsha, and then in 10th, Hunter Lawrence. Now moving on to the weather and track conditions, unfortunately it is another open stadium and there is more rain. So fortunately, as of right now, it is not supposed to be raining during the race time on Saturday. However, they did have to cancel press day as it was raining all Friday and the track was just generally muddy. So they obviously had it tarped, but not the whole track. The start straight and whatnot was still not tarped. And there's going to be plenty of moisture working its way into the track as they uncover it. Now, as I mentioned, it isn't supposed to rain. However, it is supposed to be pretty cloudy and cold all day. So the track's really not going to have the best chance to dry off as far as getting the moisture that was already built into the track from the dirt being wet and then more rain coming in as they finished building it. So I don't look for it to be necessarily a quote unquote mud race, but I do look for deep ruts and slick conditions. Now moving over to the injury update side of things, the list is unfortunately getting kind of long. However, fortunately this week it does look like we're getting Adam Cirillo back. Even though he did announce his retirement, he's still coming back to finish off the season. So shout out to him. He's going to be back this week. However, we still have Christian Craig, who's out. He's still dealing with that elbow issue that he had to have another surgery on. However, he did get on the start list this week, so I'm interested to see how next weekend goes, as usually the guys don't show up on the start list for no reason. However, them being on the start list does not necessarily mean that they're there and that they will be racing. All that being said, though, technically he could race, he could show up, he is on the start list, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be there. Next rider we got to talk about is Dean Wilson, who's on his way back from that shoulder blade injury that he suffered from crashing in Daytona. So it sounds like he is going to try to come back next weekend in Nashville. So he's still going to be out this weekend. However, he also did make it onto the start list. Not really sure why he's on there, but he's on the start list. However, he's not going to be racing either. Dylan Ferrandis, he is still going to be out with his lung issue. Sounds like it's some sort of lung infection he's still trying to fight his way back from. I do believe he'll probably be back for a couple of races at the end of the season. However, I think he's now shifted his focus to pro motocross, as that was kind of his specialty anyways. Then we have a few more riders that have been out but are still out and just worth noting, which is John Short, he's still going to be out. Aaron Tanti also going to be out. And Logan Carnell, unfortunately, still out after he got absolutely annihilated in the first race of the season in the first turn. Now, moving over to the 250 class, unfortunately, the East Coast is not faring as well as the West Coast, so we have quite the laundry list here. Now, Austin Faulkner, also on the entry list, however, he looks to be out this weekend as well, unfortunately. Enzo Lopes, really hate to see this. We did a separate video on his situation, explaining how this could potentially, unfortunately, be the end of his career, which we really don't want to see. However, he's still out. There's a lot to discuss there, but we're just going to leave it at that. Jeremy Martin is also going to be out, unfortunately, due to that concussion that he sustained earlier on in the season. Even though he did come back and race in a few races, and he was able to do fairly well, he decided to go ahead and call it for the season, and he will not be racing with us again during Supercross. And to be honest with you, I don't know that we're going to see him on a bike ever again. Moving on to Jet Reynolds, he's still going to be out. He's going to call it a season as far as Supercross goes. He's shifting his focus to Pro Motocross. Cullen Park, same story. If you guys saw our video showing how he dislocated his wrist earlier on in the year, he sounded like he was going to come back from it, but at this point, he's just went ahead and called it a season, and he's going to focus also on Pro Motocross. Styles Robertson, we haven't seen him race this year. He's still recovering from that massive arm injury he suffered in the preseason. Dylan Schwartz is out with a arm and hand issue. He kind of blew everything up in that area, so unfortunately he's not going to be racing with us anytime soon. And then Guillaume Perez, he's still going to be out with that femur issue. I really don't know if we're going to see him again this year. Hopefully we could see him sometime in Pro Motocross, as obviously I think he would fare better in that anyways. And I really hate to see that, especially with his new Husky ride. But yeah, he's going to be out for the remainder of Supercross. Evan Ferry, after making his pro debut and making his first main event in his pro debut, and then immediately going into the wall, has really not been able to return, even though he did kind of return. He messed up his shoulder, separated it, and he's still out. And then Derek Leatherman, he also broke his femur, and he's out. So as you can see, quite the laundry list of injuries there. However, we do have some positive news to talk about. Casey Cochran has finally gotten enough points to make his pro debut, and he's going to be debuting with the Husky team this week. Now, this is not only great news for Casey, as he's been working at it for a while to try to get his points, and had a little bit of bad luck along the way, even though he did win the finals last year in the Supercross Futures class. It's also great for the Husky team, as they've been kind of struggling to keep their riders healthy, with Christian Craig not being able to race anytime soon, as well as Guillaume Perez that I just mentioned, who broke his femur. So it's good to get some fresh talent in there, and hopefully he can get in there and mix it up. I don't think the expectations for him are too high from the team or from himself. I think they just want to see him get out there, get some experience, put the brand on the track, and just have a solid race night. With all that being said, that's really all I have as far as the Foxborough race day updates go. Hopefully the weather will hold off and we'll have a good race night. Even if the track does have a lot of moisture in it, that doesn't mean it won't be a good race track. It could actually offer some good separation and get the top guys to the front where they could all battle together. But either way, I'm excited to see what happens. Hopefully we have some good racing. If you guys made it this far in the video, thanks for sticking around. It means a lot. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.